gentlemen, we're very happy to have our next speaker with us at the AGL Profitability Hub 2020. The title of the next session is Self-Learning During Downtime. So I would like to welcome Alessandro Pacilio from Booking.com. We're very happy to have you here with us today, Alessandro. Please tell us where you're at, what you're doing, and if you're safe, and how you've been spending the time.
Hi, Simon. Hi, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. Nice to see you, as always. And well done on pronouncing the surname. You did an excellent job there. We rehearsed that a little bit before, but it was excellent. So where am I? I'm in the Netherlands. I live in the Netherlands. I'm based in Amsterdam, and I've been here since the beginning. I'm obviously at home, like everybody else, working from home now for a few weeks already. But things are going pretty well so far for me personally. Myself or my family, we are all thankfully safe. I know that's not necessarily the case for everyone, so this is a very serious and tough situation. But for us personally, we've been doing relatively well. What I've been up to, well, lots of different things. Working from home is actually taking up quite some time because you don't have so many boundaries, right? So you can expand quite quickly. And then just the normal stuff. I'm Italian, so I'm practicing my cooking skills with mixed results so far.
Fantastic, thank you, Ali. And I guess what comes with it, and also our session title today, and our objective is here to create content for our audience, right? We'll have a lot of different type of property managers on the call, and want to learn about self-learning during a downtime, and obviously using time useful, being at home and learn more, and you being one of the top experts to join us on this conference. We're obviously very happy. So let's get started into the questions. What do you think are the most important things that property managers will have to take in account when it comes to managing their business, especially at this very moment?
Yeah, sure. Before I do that, maybe Simon, let me just quickly introduce myself, just very quickly on what I do at Booking, because I realized I did skip that part before. So for those of you who don't know me, my role at Booking is basically to lead product marketing for the division that is focused on the vacation rental product Booking, or not only, let's say, short-term rental product Booking. Within that division, I'm essentially responsible to listen to the market and see what is happening out there, talk to property managers, talk to people like you, Simon, to get input, and then hopefully help translate that input for our engineering teams that then are developing the products that hopefully make sense to you, and try to convert that input into a strategy. And of course, my role is also then to take that back to the market and explain to the market what we are doing, which is why I'm very happy to be here today. So in terms of your actual question, what can property managers take into account today? Well, I think it's no secret for anyone that this situation that COVID-19 has created some very challenging conditions for everyone operating in the market, especially, of course, in the travel industry. And of course, here at Booking, our concern has been and will always be the safety and security of everyone, customer, partners, and of course, also employees and colleagues. We are monitoring the situation like everyone else, including the announcement and the instructions from the WHO and all the relevant authorities. And we are trying our best to continue to update the support we provide to the partners with the teams that are involved in it all around the world. Generally speaking, I think it's quite, also from a personal point of view, I think it's quite easy to feel that this virus has left us out of control. But I think it's really important, especially for anyone, but especially for someone who's running a business, to try to focus on what they can control. So that's why I'm quite happy today to be here, to really focus on the actionable part of this story. So what are the things that we can do today, regardless of the external conditions, where unfortunately no one really knows how things are going to play out, but there are still things that we can do today to make sure that we can recover hopefully as fast as possible and make the best for the future.
Excellent. I mean, we all know, obviously, and follow Booking.com very closely, also in terms of what's happening next to the other OTAs, and it's definitely a challenging time for everyone. But one thing that Booking has always been extremely, very product driven, right? Putting a lot of emphasis and focus on product. And, you know, sometimes you might be less successful in terms of marketing your own product than marketing other people's products on your platform, on your marketplace. But let's talk about this. So Booking.com continuously improves its product offerings, and you've just had new releases, 3 new product features that Booking.com has released just sort of towards the end of last year. Can you elaborate a little bit further on these products, and what are they especially focused on for the property managers?
Yeah, sure. So we did do a lot of things last year, indeed, especially on the professional side. One of the things that got the most traction is the quality rating system that we've introduced. So that is something new that we've done last year. It's actually a first in the industry. So for those of you who are not familiar with it, that's essentially a quality classification, a quote unquote quality classification of the properties that are available in the short-term rental on our platform. The insight that is at the start of this, and I quite like what you say, Simon, that we are always product driven, because indeed we are always looking for ways to improve our business, and your business is a measurable way. So the insight that we had there was, maybe people don't really know when they're booking an accommodation, a short-term rental. It's quite hard to know what type of accommodation are they booking, what is the sort of service level that they can expect for that accommodation. Now, in the hotel industry, there is an obvious parallel, which is the star rating, but there's not really anything like it in the short term, or at least there was nothing like it in the short-term rental industry. Now, you could argue that there's review score that is fulfilling a similar role, but the review score is really quite different. It's a measure of the subjective experience of the person staying in that property, whilst this quality rating is really a measure of the objective characteristics of that particular property. The way it works, very simply, it takes into account a range of features that are a property level in your properties. It compares those features with other properties nearby in the same market, and then it assigns a rating to that property based on this comparison. And that's actually quite helpful, even in the context today, because, for example, we know that a portion of people, when they search for properties online, they search for star rating. And if you filter for star rating, if you were to do that in the past, then all of the vacation rental properties, all of the short-term rental properties, they would just be left out because they have no star rating. But now with this filter, they actually become visible when guests are looking for a specific star rating, which is interesting because we already knew before that people are not specifically looking for one type of accommodation when booking online. And this also helps mixing the inventory to make sure that we give the most exposure to everyone. Speaking of exposure, another thing that I think is really important in this time is to make sure that you really maximize the return of your airtime that you get, right? And in the past, we've also experimented a lot with this. We've tried, for example, showcasing the professionally managed properties on our front end. So when you look at a property that's managed by a professional company, we experimented in showcasing what's good about that property management company on our platform. We experimented for new properties with a couple of players to import reviews from their profile into our system when the property is new, because the insight is when a new property goes into the market, we know that it might struggle a bit before it gets the first review. So how do we combat that? For example, we can do that by importing reviews from third parties and showcasing that new property actually is not new. It was already booked on this other platform, on this other website. And the last one in this sense is also for new properties using the host review score from other properties in your portfolio to be displayed in place of your review score, again, for new properties. The logic is the same. We want to give as much visibility as possible to new properties, and how we can do that, we can try and experimenting, leveraging, really making the whole portfolio work for you. And the last bit, very quickly, is the connectivity focus that we had a lot last year. We really believe that all of these features should be available regardless of how you choose to connect with us. And therefore, we really double down on our investment in the connectivity space.
Interesting. In terms of your star rating, just a quick question in between. Do you think there will be a COVID-19 cleaning standard going forward in this industry?
That's an excellent question. We don't know. So the bottom line is that I think the uncertainty at the moment, it is still so high that it's quite difficult to be able to make an actual prediction on how things will play out. You could make an argument, you could make the hypothesis, and I know I've been chatting with Alex on this, so you can make the hypothesis, Alex Nix from Properly. You could make the hypothesis that yes, people are going to look for cleaner properties, but how exactly that plays out and what exactly is it, that's quite hard to comment on now. And as you know,
sure.
At Booking, we want to experiment everything. So yes, it's an interesting hypothesis. We can take it into consideration. Whether or not there will be a cleaning standard in place, I just don't know yet.
No, sure. But I think I could see the same. I mean, if I travel now post COVID, obviously you want to have a certain certainty as well, and you might look for that. There's a particular standard that needs to be fulfilled. I heard of a property manager in Italy on the Amalfi Coast that he's actually replacing cutlery every time somebody stays at their property in the future. So I don't know how far you really want to go. And they don't even put the bed sheets on the bed anymore. They actually provide the linen to the guests. They have to do it themselves, so they don't touch bed linen or anything like it as well. So it will be interesting how the industry will deal with that. So for the features you have mentioned, for the 3 different features you have mentioned, also the star rating as well, I understand you have these tools are actually provided on the extranet. And maybe you can sort of explain a little bit more to the audience, why has Booking.com decided to put these on the extranets, and give a quick overview of these features as well?
Yeah, so as I've mentioned before, so we have put them on the extranet, but we are working really hard also to put them on other platforms, right? For example, if you have managed multiple accounts, then you have a sort of a group page when you log into the extranet, and we want to make sure that those features are available also there. If you happen to have downloaded our Pulse mobile app, which a lot of property managers also do, then we also want to make sure that those features are available in Pulse. If you are connected with the channel manager, then or any other connectivity provider, then of course we also want to make sure that those features are available there. So we don't really make a channel choice when we develop the new feature. We want to develop a feature that makes sense for property managers, and then we want to make it available in as many channels as possible, so that you as a property manager can take the decision and choose to manage your portfolio however it is more efficient and more convenient for you, which I think it will be more and more important.
Yeah, we already had the chance to have a chat together previously about the success of some of these features, also in Como. And now it's been a bit of time elapsed since you have launched these features. Obviously, until the mid of March, we have a bit of visibility. In the last, obviously, 4 weeks do not give us the same visibility. But let's talk about these features, and where, it was interesting when we discussed the star rating. Was always an interesting one, and with my experience as a property manager, a very large one, star rating was always a big challenge, because a lot of our contracting managers, they used to give a lower star rating just to avoid any complaints or anything else. How can you tell us about the findings of the features that you have launched as a whole, and which are sort of the most popular features from the property managers, and how do they deal with it? It would not surprise me that a lot of property managers are worried that maybe the Booking.com scores are very high, and therefore it's tough to manage guest expectations as well.
Yeah, I think this whole argument on the star rating is and the expectation is very interesting, right? First of all, everything that we launch at Booking, if it's live on our platform, it means that it works. And by works, it means that it increases the performance of the properties where this feature is applied. So you can, by the nature of our business, right, we experiment everything. And therefore, you can be 100% confident that if we launch the star rating, that is because the star rating is adding value to the properties that have the star rating applied. Of course, it is adding value to different degrees, maybe for different properties. It is not the same value for everyone. That's by definition, right, of statistics. But nonetheless, overall, it is adding value. In terms of the matching of the guest expectations, we, for example, also don't just measure the, for example, uplifting conversion of a new feature, but we also measure the impact of that particular feature as, for example, on our customer service inbound. And that is a pretty good measure to see if, for example, something is creating friction with either our guests or our partners, because you could make an hypothesis that something is live and it's adding, yes, a huge value in terms of conversion, but maybe it's also creating a lot of confusion on the guest side. And again, if something is on and is live, you can be assured that that part is also covered. So again, I think we are seeing a lot of positive signals with this star rating. The fact that it's localized, I think, is also very interesting from a property manager point of view, because ultimately, you know, a 3-star in the hotel world, let's say, a 3-star is sort of defined internationally, but then I guess we all have experiences of having stayed or 3-4 stars properties in some countries and 3-4 star properties in other countries and not having had exactly the same experience, right? And I think what is good about this star rating is that instead, this quality rating, instead it takes into account really properties that are nearby. So if everyone has a swimming pool, and we are in Valencia, that is something that is really important. The same swimming pool, if you are in Amsterdam, that's not so relevant, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. And great example. I have made many experiences with different star ratings, especially on the hotel side. And that makes our world once again very unique, even though now we're sharing something in common, which has probably never happened or not happen in a very long time as well. So can you tell us anything about the adoption of features and how has it improved for the property managers who have really engaged into these features and really have experienced obviously uplift by really getting engaged and using these new features?
Yeah, so I think again, it's quite hard for me to answer that question in general terms, in the sense that, yes, we do see an uplift for the feature in general, but then the actual uplift for the different property managers will be different, right? That's not going to be the same for everyone. I think what we are trying to do at Booking is we are trying to tell a story to property managers on why these features are important. For example, the quality rating page in the extent actually has a whole section that explains, that tries to make it actionable, to explain to the property managers what they can do to improve that property rating and what can they do, what return they can expect from that improvement that they make. So it's quite hard for me to give a blanket answer to everyone, but I think the spirit of all of these tools is that we want to have the property managers empowered to make their own decision and informed in how to make those decisions.
Now, we talked about these 3 core features, and now obviously Booking.com is working hard to constantly improve their product, which definitely we know you for. Are there any more features being released that you can talk about right now?
Yeah, so of course, the teams are still really busy working on the features that we had planned for this year. I think this year is going to be very special for the industry, right? So I think what we are going to see is a lot of plans becoming more fluid. Our general area of focus moving forward, I think they most likely will be remaining the same. And those were the professionalization in the industry, which is something that we've talked a lot about. I think we talked a lot about revenue management, or how to learn from each other, how to learn from the hotel side of things. I think that will definitely remain relevant. Automation is another area that we want to explore a lot. I was mentioning to you before that I read your white paper on the profitability, and I find it quite interesting because there are these two elements always, right? How to increase your revenue, but also how to manage your cost. And I think automation in terms of cost management is something that could play a role. Connectivity is also obviously still there, and it will still be relevant along the lines of the automation. And then finally, the hospitality piece in terms of offering a high guest experience, or really matching well the guest expectations. That's still going to be important, right? People are still going to want to travel for leisure, have pleasurable experience, have nice experience. So that will remain important. Of course, we do all that, but we do realize that there is a crisis happening today, and there's stuff that we need to do in the short term to make sure that we help our partners and our customers to make sure that they get through this and they can get things to the next level. And so we are kind of working on both of these horizons, the short term and the more longer term.
So if I'm a property manager, and obviously we're talking about self-learning during downtime, and about these features and about what Booking.com is working on, and how can I familiarize myself? Where do I find information? How can I learn more about these features, and in terms of sort of getting ready? As you said, the industry is reshaping itself. We definitely see changes, drastic changes post COVID-19. We'll definitely see a lot more domestic tourism to start with, which is a nice thing to have as well. So we're marketing our destinations to our local people instead of the foreigners. But I believe vacation rental has a huge opportunity to bounce back super fast. But I want to get ready for that. So if I want to, engage with Booking.com, where can I find this information? And by the way, when do I get an account manager from Booking.com to help me working with these features and information?
Yeah, so a couple of different ways. So of course, we try to do our best to already have a product that is as self-explanatory as possible, and a lot of the information is actually already delivered in the extranet or in your provider, in your channel manager, if you are connected partners. So maybe if you have some time now, I will actually invite you to have a look at the extranet and see what features are there that maybe you've missed in the past, either at group level. We have a couple of features also in the analytics section of the extranet, which is quite interesting. I think there is a feature there, for example, that is about the pace report, that is showing you how you're pacing for future months in terms of bookings and ADR. That's quite interesting information that you can extract from there. You can also create your competitive set, for example, where you can then use to benchmark yourself against other competitors in your area. Maybe you haven't had so much time to look into these numbers in the past. Maybe it's a good time now to really invest some time and dig deeper and look into the data and see what interesting things you can find, right? In terms of, I think it's always really important to know your business, right? And know your product. I think this downtime could actually provide a very good opportunity to invest in doing that, in really knowing what has happened and why, and how is your product and how you can improve it for the future. Of course, there are also other channels that we use. We do email partners. I know maybe a bit too much, some people would say, but we do email partners with information that is relevant. We do have a partner hub page that you can go on and you can find a lot of information. That is partner.booking.com, and you will find a lot of information there. It's not specifically for vacation rental. It's a generic page. If you do want the vacation rental version, we have propertymanagers.booking.com, which presents basically the whole story that I just explained to you into a page format. Of course, we try to be out there and engage in conversation. Like I'm talking to you now, and we've been to many events where we are also there in person, and we are happy to hear the feedback. For the account managers bit, it is true not all property managers have an account manager assigned. That depends on a number of factors. It depends on the region. It depends on the number of resources that we have available. It depends on numbers of factors. But regardless of the fact that you do have an account manager assigned or not, we're still committed to help you, obviously, and to make you do the most. And as I said, we try to do that a lot through different digital channels. And if you do have questions, you can always reach out to our customer service, which is 24/7 and 7 days, 24/7, and available in a number of different languages, and they can also provide you with some help. And if you see me in the future in some of the events, you can always come and talk to me. I'm 2 meters tall, though I'm thinking quite easy to spot.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll never forget the Cinquecento, my friend. So yeah, exactly. Absolutely. So thank you so much. Now to wrap this up, one thing that I'm obviously very looking forward to is demand. So are you going to call me when demand is rising again as a property manager and say, hey, get ready? Or which tools can I use, and how can I sort of monitor the increasing demand that will come back again?
Yeah. So as I said before, in the extranet, there's already the PACE tool that you can use, and you can have a look at that and see how you're comparing, for example, with your country or your city or your competitive set, and that could already give an indication of whether or not something is happening. We are committed to continue to grow together and to help you in the recovery phase. Which exact form will that take? I don't know yet, but for sure we are committed in exploring ways in which we can support property managers go to the next level. There are also a ton of third-party platforms and softwares that are helping in that sense. I think Transparent, AirDNA, pricing tools like Beyond Pricing, they are all doing a very good job in trying to share the data. Ultimately, I think we are in unprecedented times. So whenever you try to make most predictions for the future, especially when it comes to pricing tools, for example, I believe are based on stuff that happened in the past, and they try to make a prediction of what will happen in the future based on something that has happened before. Now, the reality is that the situation that we are encountering now has never happened before, right? So it's going to be quite challenging by definition, to try to make a prediction on something that is just unknown. So use a little bit of your judgment there when you're looking at this data and these predictions. From our side, we'll remain committed to help you when we know that the stuff that we are telling you and the advice that we are giving you is actually correct and actually helpful.
Wonderful. Well, I couldn't have not done better closing note. Use the time, self-learning, make sure you use what is out there. Also that Booking.com as a great partner provides. So we would like to thank Booking.com and Ale for joining us on this call in the context of the AGL Profitability Hub. We're working on our own pricing solution because that's, as you said, in an unprecedented situation, we're starting to realize what is actually important and what is sort of less important, to not hopefully have to go through a second experience like that, but it will definitely get us thinking, what can we do better going forward? So on that note, we would like to thank you, Ale, for joining us in our conference today. We wish you good health, stay well, and I can't wait to see you at one of the conferences soon somewhere around the world.
Yes, thank you very much, Simon. Thanks for having me and Booking.com on this conference. Hopefully we managed to add some value. So pleasure as always speaking to you. Surprisingly, I'm actually also quite looking forward to seeing you in person again. So let's see when that will happen. And yeah, everyone likewise, stay safe and speak soon.
Thank you very much, Ale. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Ciao.